Tonight, you can look up and see nothing. Just clouds, just stars, just a sky pretending it has no secrets. But inside the Pentagon, that empty sky has become reports, videos, briefings, databases, and official words that make the mystery feel stranger. You have probably seen the clips, a tiny shape on a fighter jet screen, a pilot laughing because the thing in front of him does not move like it should, a blurry object over the ocean, small enough to dismiss, but weird enough to follow your brain home. So, what did the Pentagon actually know about UFOs? The careful answer is not that the government secretly proved aliens were visiting Earth. The careful answer is that the government kept receiving reports it could not always explain, then spent decades asking whether those reports meant danger, bad data, foreign technology, or something stranger. That difference matters, because unidentified does not mean alien. It means your brain has reached the edge of the label machine. The story starts before viral videos and congressional hearings. In 1947, after pilot Kenneth Arnold reported strange objects near Mount Rainier, the modern UFO age exploded into public imagination. Newspapers had a new obsession. The Cold War had a new anxiety. And the sky suddenly felt crowded. What would you do if unknown things were being reported over military airspace? You would not start with little green men. You would start with national security. The US Air Force created Project Sign in 1948, then Project Grudge in 1949. Then came Project Blue Book. From 1952 to 1969, it became the most famous official UFO investigation. Most reports were eventually explained as aircraft, balloons, weather, stars, planets, hoaxes, or mistakes, but not all. According to the National Archives and the US Air Force, Project Blue Book collected 12,618 sightings and 701 remained classified as unidentified. That number is the spark, not proof. Because when a case remains unidentified, it does not automatically become a spaceship. It becomes a question with missing pieces. Could the witness have been wrong? Could radar have glitched? Could a secret aircraft have been seen by people who were never allowed to know it existed? This is where the mystery gets less cinematic and more human. The Pentagon's problem was not one giant hidden answer. It was a pile of messy reports. Some had photos, some had radar, some had trained pilots. How do you build certainty from fragments? Usually, you do not. You build categories. By the late 1960s, the Air Force wanted closure. The University of Colorado UFO study, led by physicist Edward Condon, argued that further UFO research was unlikely to add major scientific knowledge. Project Blue Book ended in 1969. Officially, the Air Force said no UFO had threatened national security. No UFO showed technology beyond modern science, and no UFO had been shown to be extraterrestrial. That sounds final. But does it feel final? The strange thing about closing a file is that the sky does not close with it. Pilots kept seeing things, radar operators kept noticing odd returns, people kept reporting lights, objects, and movements that refused to become simple. For decades, the topic moved into late-night radio, tabloids, and jokes. So what happens when the reports keep coming anyway? In 2017, reporting by the New York Times revealed a Pentagon-linked effort known as the Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program, or AATIP. The program was connected to earlier Defense Intelligence Agency work, including the Advanced Aerospace Weapons System Applications Program, or AAWSAP, funded in the late 2000s. What did those programs prove? Here is where the careful answer matters. They proved the government-funded work connected to unidentified aerial phenomena. They did not prove alien craft. They did not prove secret visitors. They proved that some officials believed the reports were worth studying, and that changed the conversation. The public learned that parts of the government had quietly stayed weird about UFOs too. The videos pushed the story into the mainstream. In April 2020, the Department of Defense officially released 3 unclassified Navy videos. One was taken in November 2004. 2 were taken in January 2015. The videos had already circulated online, but the official release changed their weight. Why does a blurry clip feel different when the Pentagon confirms it is real? Because your brain no longer has to ask whether the video exists. Now it asks what the video shows. The answer was still not simple. The objects were unidentified in the footage. The pilots sounded confused, but confusion is not a conclusion. A sensor can misread speed. A camera angle can trick depth. A distant object can look impossible when the data around it is thin. That is the quiet enemy in this story. Not aliens, not skeptics, thin data. In 2020, the Pentagon announced the Unidentified Aerial Phenomena Task Force. Its job was to detect, analyze, and catalogue UAP that could pose a threat to national security. Notice the language. Not flying saucers, threats, reports, sensors, airspace, operations. Then came the 2021 preliminary assessment from the Office of the Director of National Intelligence. It reviewed 144 UAP reports from US government sources. One was identified with high confidence as a large deflating balloon. The others remained unexplained at the time. Many involved multiple sensors. What does unexplained really mean? It means the available information was not enough. It means the case resisted quick labeling. It does not mean the most exciting explanation automatically wins. By 2022, the government created the All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, known as AARO. All domain means not just the sky, it means air, sea, space, and places where reports may cross boundaries. AARO's official mission is to use a scientific, data-driven approach to resolve UAP reports. That sentence sounds boring until you realize what it admits. There are enough reports to require a system, and enough noise in the sky to make the Pentagon keep listening. But AARO's later reports also pushed back against the wildest claims. Its historical review found no verifiable evidence that the US government had recovered extraterrestrial technology or reverse-engineered alien craft. That does not kill every mystery. It does kill the easy version of the conspiracy. And maybe that is the twist. The strangest thing the Pentagon knew was not that aliens were definitely here. The strangest thing it knew was that modern military systems can still run into uncertainty. Jets, radar, infrared cameras, trained pilots, intelligence agencies, and official procedures can all stare at the same sky and still return with a question mark. NASA stepped into the conversation in 2023 with its independent UAP study team. The team called for better data, better reporting, and less stigma. It said UAP study demands a rigorous, evidence-based approach. That is not a Hollywood reveal. It is a warning that mystery without clean data becomes folklore. And folklore is powerful. A missing detail becomes a theory, then a belief, then a community. Have you noticed how mystery grows fastest in empty space? That may be the real Pentagon UFO story, a battle between secrecy and uncertainty. When the two overlap, your brain sees a locked door and assumes a monster is behind it. Sometimes there is no monster. Sometimes there is a balloon, a drone, a planet, a satellite, a reflection, a classified aircraft, a sensor error, or a pilot seeing something real but incomplete. And sometimes, after all that, there is still a question. So what did the Pentagon actually know? It knew people were seeing things. It knew some reports came from trained observers. It knew some cases had sensor data. It knew many cases could be explained. It knew some could not be explained with the information available. And it knew that saying unidentified out loud could change the way the public looked at the sky. That is not the clean answer your brain wants. It is not a final yes. It is not a final no. It is a file folder stamped with a question mark. Tonight, you can look up and see nothing. And now that nothing has a file.
If your brain enjoyed this, do all three. Hit subscribe, smash like, and turn notifications on so you can watch next.